So we have talked a little bit about disordered eating, and we have talked about diet culture. Let's jump right in and figure out what the alternative would be. So Ellen Satter, who is a family therapist as well as a feeding and eating specialist, has written a book called Secrets of Feeding a Healthy Family: How to Eat, How to Raise Good Eaters, and How to Cook. And in that, she defines what normal eating is. So I'm going to read some of the criteria of normal eating off, and we can think about what this looks like compared to what we have been taught by the diet industry. Normal eating is going to the table hungry and eating until you're satisfied. Normal eating is being able to choose food you enjoy and to eat it and truly get enough of it, and not just stop eating because you think you should. Normal eating is being able to give some thought to your food selection so you get nutritious food, not being so wary and restrictive that you might miss out on enjoyable foods. Normal eating is giving yourself permission to eat because you are happy, sad, bored, or just because it feels good. Normal eating is mostly eat 3 meals a day, or 4, or 5, or it can just be choosing to munch along the way. Normal eating is leaving cookies on the plate because you will let yourself have the cookies again tomorrow, or eating more now because they taste so great. Normal eating is overeating at times and feeling stuffed and uncomfortable, and undereating at times and wishing you had more. Normal eating is trusting your body to make up for your mistakes in eating. Normal eating takes up some of your time and attention, but keeps its place as only one important area of your life. In short, normal eating is flexible. It varies in response to your hunger, your schedule, your food, and your feelings. Now, what I love about Ellen Satter's definition is that it's very encompassing of what we experience and what is considered a normal eating habit and normal eating pattern. A lot of it is things that we have typically shamed ourselves for if we did them because the diet industry has told us that it's wrong. For example, eating a plate of cookies and allowing yourself to have it again tomorrow instead of just that one cheat day. Or, being able to have those 4 or 5 meals a day, maybe eating after 7 o'clock, maybe not doing the intermittent fasting. Allowing yourself to make those mistakes. Allowing yourself to eat until you're full or not eat and wishing you had more. It's okay to not eat for a couple of meals because you're going to the Cheesecake Factory with your friends later. Or you're planning on, you're late for work and so you skip the meal and you probably eat something and you wish that you could get more of it, but you can't. It's okay to be in those positions. It happens. We're human beings. But unfortunately, we have developed this stigma in our society around eating our feelings, around being able to enjoy our food, even if it's food that we may not stereotypically consider to be healthy. So normal eating is kind of along the lines of what intuitive eating strives to allow us to do. So when I first looked into intuitive eating, I thought it was us denying all the studies that we've seen in the medical field around dieting, just being able to eat whatever you want. And then the more I looked into it and the more research, like I've mentioned in the previous video, the more I found that intuitive eating has been associated with much lower levels of disordered eating as well as decreased rates of decreased BMIs. Now, there are 10 principles to intuitive eating that I would like to go through. Number 1 is to just reject that diet mentality. Throw out the diet books. Get rid of the scale. Don't step on the scales. Don't make weight loss your goal. Weight loss may be a result. It may be an effect of you practicing intuitive eating, but weight gain may also be a side effect of intuitive eating. And that's okay because while, like we said, weight is one component of health, it's not the full picture. So you want to just throw out the diet books, stop spending the money on those weight loss programs, and just think about your body. Rediscover what it's like to be an intuitive eater. Number 2 is to honor your hunger. So keep your body biologically fed. Keep yourself energized with those carbohydrates. Now, in the diet industry, we are taught to fear carbs. We are taught to not want to eat too many sugars. The reality is our bodies need carbs. Our brain needs carbs. So what happens is if a person gets to a point where they don't honor their hunger, they get these cravings because they're not eating the foods that their bodies need. A lot of the times we're taught that cravings are an indication that your body is getting rid of those toxins. Your body the diet is working. You're going to lose the weight. It's a good sign that you're having the cravings. You can't give in to those cravings. The reality is you need to honor it, because if you don't, you get that cheat day and you gorge. It can lead to a binging pattern if you don't honor your cravings. One nutritionist that I follow, and I will list a lot of the nutritionists as resources here, she mentioned that she had a client who said she could live off of potato chips forever. And so the nutritionist looked at her and said, well, why don't you? Buy a bunch of potato chips and don't eat anything except potato chips for the next 3 days. Within a day, her client texted her and said, I don't even like potato chips that much. All she needed to do was honor that craving and honor her hunger for those potato chips. Her body was telling her she needed it. And when she allowed herself to have it without any sense of shame or guilt, she was able to have it, enjoy it, and move on. Unfortunately, with the diet culture, we see the opposite, where you do have that cheat day, you do eat it, and you still feel somewhat guilty. Or you're not dieting, but you feel guilty that you're not dieting, so you're not even enjoying the food that you're eating. Which brings us to the third principle, which is make peace with food. Have those foods that we consider to be forbidden. That food should not have control over you. But if you want to have it, allow yourself to have it, knowing that it's not scarce. When we don't make peace with food and we don't honor our cravings, what happens is our body is convinced that these nutrients, these specific foods, are scarce, that we're in some type of famine. And so what it does is that it can't control itself when that food is in sight. That's why it's hard for us to not stop once we start eating those foods that we've been craving for a long time. We need to change the way we think about those foods. It's okay to have a brownie. Brownies are delicious. It's okay to have those salt and vinegar chips. They're good. It's wonderful to have that Nutella. I'm a Nutella girl, personally. It's wonderful to have those chocolates and the ice cream. Enjoy it. Make peace with it. Don't shame yourself for eating food that has been deemed forbidden or unhealthy by this diet culture. Number 4, challenge the food police. I'm a big proponent of not allowing people to make you feel bad for not following a diet. Do not give in to individuals who decide that they have something to say about what you're eating, your body size, your weight. It's none of their business. Don't allow them to guilt you for what you have eaten, for what you're craving, for honoring your body and its needs. Push away people who are counting your calories, who are shaming you for not dieting or for eating something that is unhealthy. Those are not supportive individuals. They may be well-intentioned. However, I think a conversation would need to happen where you challenge those ideals that they're perpetuating and understand and allow them to know what it actually is doing. Is it actually helping you feel healthier if someone tells you, hey, don't eat that? Or is it making you feel ashamed and worthless for being a human and having these cravings or wanting to eat what you want to eat? Number 5, discover the satisfaction factor. So, at a certain point, when we've dieted enough times, we hear that we have to limit our calorie intake and watch the number of grams of carbs or the number of grams of fat or the grams of sugars that we have every day. Our body does need proteins, carbs, fats, and fruits and vegetables. But what happens is we sometimes are given we try to portion our meals We get these really little portions. I don't know if anyone's ever tried Atkins or Jenny Craig or Nutrisystem, and you're like, oh, I'm going to get a chicken pot pie tonight, or I'm going to have, what do they have, like a club sandwich, or what, a fettuccine alfredo, one of those little prepackaged meals, and then you get it, and it is like the size of your phone. Like, this isn't a portion. This isn't, who is this going to feed? Not me. And quite frankly, at the end of the day, because we're restricting that food and we're counting our calories, we're denying and not engaging with a very natural part of the human body, which is our satisfaction gauge. There is a part of our body that signals to our brain when we are satisfied or when we are full. And so the goal is to start reattuning with that satisfaction gauge. Trying to use that tool to understand, am I full? Or if I take another bite, am I going to be sick? Or have I not eaten enough? So it's important to honor that gauge that we have. Number 6, feel your fullness. So again, back to that satisfaction factor. Now, what you can do is learn how to feel your fullness and attune to that satisfaction gauge that you have. What you can do is sit and eat, and while you're eating, be a little mindful about it. Feel how that food feels, and try to attune to how that food is feeling in your mouth. Really taste the flavors. Slow your process down, and then pause in the middle of your meal after you've swallowed. Of course, please swallow. Swallow your food and attune to yourself. Can I eat another bite? Am I still hungry, or should I stop? And is there a current hunger level? If so, is it I'm still pretty hungry, or is it, if I take another bite, I'll be okay? And attune to that. Honor what your body is asking of you. Number 7, cope with your emotions with kindness. Now, I love comfort food. Mozzarella sticks and pizza and buffalo wings. French fries. I love comfort food. And there's a reason why it's called comfort food. We all utilize food as a way of nurturing us or distracting us or dealing with anxiety and loneliness, maybe anger, maybe depression. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of the times, sometimes the food that we crave is to satisfy specific moods. And while food can sometimes be a short-term way of appeasing and controlling and addressing those emotions, much of the time we have to also understand that it's not going to cure it. And while normal eating has, yes, as Ellen Satter has said, normal eating is being able to eat when you're bored or upset or just because it feels good, it's also important to know that eating is not going to solve feeling upset or bored or anxious. Sometimes, it's a temporary fix, but we also have to take the steps that we need to take in order to take care of ourselves and our feelings, finding adequate sources of support. So much of the time, if you are eating while you're sick, while you're feeling this way, have that food and then think to yourself, if you're going to eat something else, stop and think, am I eating because my body needs it? Am I hungry? And if I'm not hungry, what am I feeling right now? Address that feeling and then ask yourself, is there something else I can do besides eating to help me with this emotion? Can I call a friend? Can I journal? Can I watch a movie that I really like? And think about ways in which you can cope. Food can help, but it's not the only answer. Respect your body, number 8. Now, like I said, that ideal diet culture portrayal of that body weight, that thin body equating health, is not always achievable by everyone, just naturally. Not all of our bodies are built that way or structured that way. So accept your genetic blueprint, just, respect your body for what it is, what it looks like, what it can do. And that is one big step to achieving intuitive eating. It's loving your body loving your body unconditionally. Don't be overcritical of your size and shape. And that's a lot easier said than done. But a little self-compassion can go a long way. Number 9, movement. Thought you were going to get out of exercise, but you don't have to do, a lot of the times, we see people go to the gym and they dread it because they are doing these workouts that they can't stand, like running on a treadmill and then lifting some weights. Now, if you enjoy lifting some weights or doing planks and, floor exercises, or you enjoy the treadmill or the rower or the stepping machine, go for it. Do it. Enjoy it. But if you don't, find a way of incorporating movement into your routine that you enjoy. It can be dancing. It can be taking a walk. It can be stretching in the morning. It can be yoga. Whatever it is, incorporate movement into your life. It will help with your mood. It will give your body the energy that it needs. It will help you focus. It can really, really make a difference in your life to incorporate movement. Thought you were going to get out of exercise. Of course you're not. Movement's still important. And finally, number 10, make food choices that honor your health and taste buds. Honor your health. Remember that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to count the calories. You don't have to constantly be, 3 square meals a day, 2 snacks in between, stop eating after a specific time. No, it's okay to not be perfect. You're not going to destroy your health because of one meal. If you have, a chocolate cake one day for dessert or for dinner even, it's not going to ruin your entire health if you have it that one time. Your health isn't related to that one time, that one meal, or that one snack you chose to have. Your health is related to how you consistently eat over time. And that's really where you see that progress. Okay? You're looking for progress. You're not trying to achieve perfection. When we look for perfection, we're setting ourselves up for a goal that's not always achievable. Perfection isn't achievable by anyone. So being gentle with yourself and honoring your body for what it can do and allowing it to enjoy the food that it enjoys. After looking at all of this, the main takeaway message is that while not all of us may develop an eating disorder at some point in our lives, we can all take steps that are necessary to prevent them from happening. And we can take steps to silence the really toxic messages that we have received from the diet industry throughout our lives. And as a result, it may save other people from developing an eating disorder. Eating disorders are the second deadliest category of mental illnesses, second to only opioid addiction. We forget that it is a life-threatening condition. But if we take these steps to criticize those toxic aspects of the diet industry, we can address one of the social factors that can influence eating disorders and disordered eating habits within individuals in our society. If you or somebody you know struggles with an eating disorder or disordered eating, please contact the National Eating Disorders Helpline. Call 1-800-931-2237 or text the same number. They are available Monday through Fridays, and they are also available on holidays. Visit nationaleatingdisorders.org for more information. For any crisis situations, please text NEDA to 741741, and you will be connected with a trained volunteer at a crisis hotline. Lastly, and I want to end on this note, with the recent changes in the last year to our working and living situations because of COVID and the effects of the quarantine and the shelter-in-place policies, we have seen an influx in people feeling lonely, depressed, anxious, and as a result, a lot of people have resorted to food. We have seen individuals really get upset for gaining weight during the quarantine. A lot of people, their eating disordered habits or their eating disorders may have been triggered by COVID-19, especially with the increased feelings of loneliness and lack of control. So right now, more than ever, it's important that we stick together and do what we can to help each other, even in the little ways. One way, again, Stomp out diet culture's toxic mentality. Don't shame individuals for their appearance, for what they're eating. Don't comment on individuals' bodies. Doing what we can to ensure that other people's lives are just a little bit more comfortable. We're all in this together. Stay safe, stay healthy.